Hi, my name's Taylor Winan. I'm the SunSmart Youth Coordinator. I'm here with Adjunct Associate Professor Craig Sinclair. Craig is Head of Prevention at Cancer Council Victoria and is the Director of the World Health Organization Collaborative Centre for UV Radiation. He has authored more than 30 articles on the topic and is well recognised worldwide as a leading expert on sun protection and skin cancer. Thanks for joining me, Craig.
Thanks, Taylor. Great to be here.
So Craig, you've got an extensive history with UV and sun protection. Can you tell us why you're so passionate about it?
Yeah, skin cancer, I see it as Australia's national cancer. We have the highest rates of skin cancer anywhere in the world. And it's partially associated with how people see Australia as that sort of sun-drenched country, and we pay that price. So that certainly is a driver for me in terms of the work I do. On a more personal level, my family has had melanoma. My mum, my brother, and my two sisters have all had melanoma. That's only happened in more recent years, but it certainly has grounded me and focused me in terms of why I do the work that I do.
Wow, yes, Australia's national cancer. I'm sad that it's affected so many in your family, and I'm sure many other families as well. So you started out as a secondary teacher. What do you think are the biggest challenges facing schools when it comes to sun protection?
Yeah, look, certainly when I was a teacher, I obviously wasn't working in the area of skin cancer prevention at the time, but I certainly appreciated how difficult it is as a teacher to manage issues outside of your academic interests, because they are inevitably fleeting from one subject to another. Your opportunity to focus on them and look at issues more holistically is really difficult, and that's often left up to the principals and vice principals to help look at those other broader policy issues. So I really appreciate where teachers are coming from in terms of the difficulty. But the challenge is that we know that kids leave primary school where they've had 6 or 7 years of hat-wearing behaviour. They've learnt they have to play in the shade if they haven't got a hat. They've learnt that they need to apply sunscreen when they go out at lunchtime, wear protective clothing when they're out on sports days. And we see such high compliance in primary schools. Yet it's that 6-week period between leaving grade 6 and starting high school where it all, just for various reasons, that momentum, that behaviour is lost. So we know kids are certainly capable of doing the right thing if the school environment is right. So we do need to start thinking about how can we create a better environment, a healthy environment for secondary schools, so that students can be encouraged in a way where it's seen to be that's just what life is. So we do need to change the policies at the secondary school levels. It's really important we do so. Otherwise, we're going to be paying the consequences of behaviour that could happen in secondary schools where kids are putting themselves at risk for skin cancer later in life.
Yeah, that's true, and it's such a critical age as well, that adolescence, where that UV exposure leads to increased skin cancer risk later in life. So it is challenging that teachers and schools have got so much on their plate, but it is such a critical age for us to focus on.
And certainly if we get the policy right, we get the occasions right, particularly focusing on those high risk moments, whether it's school sports, any sort of excursions where kids are out for long periods of time. We've really got to tackle that in the first instance, and the school needs to take that responsibility.
And it is a shared responsibility as well. It is something I think we need to work collaboratively together on between students, parents and teachers, but those policies are really important to sort of support that change.
That's right, and it's certainly one thing I learned as a teacher. Without the parents supporting you, without that policy support, the support from the principal, things aren't going to change. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
And why is it so critical for us to address sun protection for youth?
Yeah, look, it's a really good question. We know that adolescent behaviour inevitably puts them at risk of sunburn. We know that they are least likely to wear protective clothing. We know that they're more likely to get sunburnt. They're more likely to desire a tan. So they're doing all the sorts of behaviour which inevitably puts them at much greater risk of getting severe sunburn and inevitably putting themselves at risk of getting skin cancer later in life. We know that behaviour of children and adolescents is critical in the formation of melanoma later in life. So if we're going to address this national cancer, if we're going to turn the tide and really start seeing these melanoma rates reduce, we do need to tackle when these kids are young, whether in primary school, in secondary school. Otherwise, we're going to continue to perpetuate the real significant burden on our health system and on the lives of Australians caused by skin cancer.